Hello to you, Gerald. So for an idiot like me, just explain to our viewers what exactly this good news is.
For someone who is not in the know around retirement funds, it's really around knowing that when you're saving for retirement, your money is put into different pots or assets so that it can grow and invest so that when you retire, that money comes to you. Now, the government has a number of regulations which dictate how much can be put in each pot so that you don't put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. So that regulation has been amended. It's called Regulation 28, and they basically increased the amount of money you can invest offshore, which is outside South Africa, through your pension fund, from what it was 30% to now 45%. And what it in essence means is that you get protection from the loss of value of the rand, whilst at the same time you also get opportunity to invest globally in best performing funds or countries.
And is this something that you'd recommend someone who has a retirement fund that they're keeping a close eye on, Gerald? Would you recommend, as an expert, this is what somebody should be looking to do? Is this good financial advice for them?
Well, yes, Regulation 28 is very important when you balance your fund, because when you balance it, you want to say, I've got equal distribution or fair distribution of pots in terms of investments. So because we're now in a global village, it's very important that our pension funds have access to invest outside South Africa. And definitely your fund manager should look at balancing your retirement fund with a bit more offshore assets. And it's really because we're reliant more and more on the rest of the world around us and less so on the rand and South Africa itself. So if we want to get a good retirement, it makes sense to have some assets in US dollars, in British pounds, euros, or even the Chinese currency.
And I'm going to ask this question, Gerald, as well. What is the tax man going to make of all of this? What's the kickback? What's the damage we're going to go through if we do this exercise?
Well, it doesn't change the taxation in terms of retirement and provident funds. It's really more to benefit people who have retirement and provident funds to start investing a little bit more offshore. The reason being the government wants people to invest in retirement vehicles. And if there are limitations such as you can't invest offshore, people will select to go perhaps directly into unit trusts or other vehicles which allow this. So it's really to keep retirement funds competitive and relevant. Another important part or feature of Reg 28 is that retirement funds can also look at infrastructure. So you now can get your retirement fund participating in roads and public infrastructure development across South Africa and globally.
Just as a last question to you then, just because we've been talking about rail infrastructure and infrastructure in general in the country, let me ask you some more free financial advice, Gerald, before I say goodbye. Do you think we should be investing as the public in things like road infrastructure in South Africa? It doesn't seem like a safe space to be right now.
Well, I think not necessarily a public road, but for example, if your retirement fund chooses to invest in a toll road where there's a concession and people are paying for toll gates, that's an income generating piece of infrastructure, which definitely would allow the government to not invest necessarily in those, but direct those funds they would normally put there into other areas of public infrastructure. But for a provident fund, it might make sense to go into some infrastructure where you can actually earn an income, such as a toll road concession.
Well, then, for the moment, I'm going to say thank you very much indeed. Good financial advice from financial expert Gerald Mwandiambira joining us this morning. Just to remind you what this is about, it's regarding your retirement fund. It looks like there's changes to this regulation for retirement funds. A larger portion of those funds can be invested offshore. If you're interested in this, you can probably go and Google, look for amendments to Regulation 28, or get hold of your financial expert. It's good news if you know what you are doing.